While making dinner, my dad casually asked, "Did you hear your brother's out of prison?" "What?" My brother Austin wasn't supposed to be out for another 3 years. Dad flipped a seasoned steak on the skillet, totally oblivious to the cold sweat dripping down my neck. My brother was serving a decade for aggravated assault, and I was the anonymous tip that put him away. I handed his stolen ledgers over to the detective because I couldn't watch him destroy our family anymore. If he was out early, he was looking for me. I forced my voice to stay level and told Dad I needed to grab plates from the basement, walking away from the brightly lit kitchen. Every shadow felt like a threat. Halfway down the stairs, our golden retriever stopped dead in her tracks. Her fur stood straight up. She let out a low growl aimed at the frosted window. I squinted into the dark, praying it was just a raccoon. Instead, I saw the thick glass pane slide upward. Someone had removed the security screws. A pair of heavy boots hit the concrete, followed by a tall silhouette. The motion sensor light snapped on, illuminating a shaved head and a jagged neck tattoo. It was him! He wasn't supposed to know my new address. Austin didn't rush at me, screaming. He just stood there, tilting his head with a blank expression, holding up a blinking black square. My stomach dropped. It was our exterior camera hub. He had been prowling outside. He bypassed the locks, cut the feeds, and waited until he found a blind spot. "You thought a fake name would keep you hidden?" he whispered, his voice devoid of emotion. He tossed the hub into the sink. "I paid a guard $3,000 for your updated records." I couldn't scream. If I yelled for help, Dad would rush down those narrow stairs, empty-handed, and get slaughtered in the bottleneck. I slowly backed toward the heavy wooden workbench in the corner, keeping my hands visible. I needed a weapon, and I knew exactly where I left a heavy steel pipe wrench. 36 months in a concrete box, Austin hissed, closing the distance across the damp floor, and all I thought about was how you sold your own blood out. I spun around and lunged for the workbench, but my boot slipped on a stray piece of cardboard. I hit the concrete hard, knocking the wind out of my lungs. Before I could scramble forward, Austin kicked a rolling tool cart, pinning my leg violently against the wall. Pain shot up my thigh. He reached into his waistband and pulled out a heavy steel crowbar. He raised it high, aiming right for my skull. Before he could bring it down, a deafening crash echoed from the stairs. Dad had noticed the dog barking and rushed down. Seeing Austin, he didn't even hesitate. Dad launched himself off the bottom steps and tackled Austin directly around the waist. The impact sent both of them crashing into a stack of empty paint cans. The metal cylinders clattered wildly, echoing like gunshots as they rolled. Austin was 10 years younger and fueled by psychotic rage, but Dad was fighting for my life. Austin scrambled up first, swinging the crowbar blindly. The iron caught Dad right in the ribs with a sickening crack. Dad collapsed to his knees, gasping for air. Austin stood over him, raising the metal bar again to finish the job. I ripped my leg free from the cart, tearing my jeans on the metal edges. I ignored the blinding pain and grabbed the heavy red fire extinguisher mounted on the pillar. I didn't think. I just swung it with absolutely everything I had left in my body. The solid cylinder connected directly with the back of Austin's skull. The sound was like a bat hitting a heavy sandbag. He dropped to the floor like a sack of concrete and didn't twitch. His crowbar clattered away. I grabbed zip ties from the bench and secured his hands and feet before calling 911. The police arrived 20 minutes later. They dragged him out to a squad car, completely unconscious and bleeding onto the driveway. He was hauled back to a maximum security cell, but this time he caught a brutal attempted murder charge tacked onto his record. Dad ended up with 3 fractured ribs and a shattered wrist, but we both got our lives back. Austin is never seeing daylight again, and this time there is absolutely no parole board left for him to manipulate.